So, sir, you saying that it is by tradition that we've always did face to face. However, in the bylaws, sir, I want you to enlighten us. In the bylaws, again on Article 8, it specifically says that election could be done by electronic means, just like what we did in the last election. We did online. Why can't we do that again, sir?
If the basis is the last time's election online, I don't think that is the jurisprudence doing general assemblies, because number one has always been done face to face. Number two, it was that online election was done under what they call this, under the precondition that it is the pandemic. Precondition that it is the pandemic, because we would not have called an online election if it weren't for the pandemic. And number three, one of the things that really the regional commanders were adamant about, and I had that feeling during that dinner, is that, and they said it so themselves, that they do not want to pay extra money. They voted for their per capita. So why even pay extra just to even vote? That actually disenfranchises a lot uh, a lot of people, and people were not even able to vote at the time because of the payment of another $30 and then so X number of amount here in the Philippines. So that's
Okay.
one of the things that is being frowned about, but we can't do anything about it because it
Sure.
was force majeure at the time. And commenting on that rule on the bylaws, that is a special law. That is not the norm of how we do things. It's only for under special circumstances that fell under, like the pandemic. So we're
Yes,
still
sir.
able to function,
Now,
but that is not how we
mhm.
function normally.
Okay. Sir, you did mention about this last election disenfranchised the members. However, if we look in the previous face to face, I think there's no more than 400 voters during the last system before the pandemic. But during the pandemic, when we did the face to face, the number of voters went up
Mm,
double,
mm,
even to, I think
mm,
it's 1,200, if I'm not
mm,
mistaken. I can look at the numbers.
mm.
So wouldn't you say that because of the numbers, there are the results were more representative of the will of the knights?
Here, I mean disenfranchised. It only the principle behind it is that these people wanted to participate no matter what. But if they did not have the extra money to cast, people would have voted, and the logistical nightmare of it being organized. The regional commanders are really were really were really the workhorse on how to organize these things. We educating people on how to vote. The commission on elect the COMELEC were really in and out of everything. I mean, the nightmare that is to manage an online election was really tough. It was really a concerted effort. That is why we were able to get the numbers that we got. But I don't think we could sustain this on a regular basis. A lot of people would.
Agree, because
Mm,
looking back, we already have the International Assembly last
mm,
February. And correct me if I'm wrong, there were some sentiments that it was expensive for the local
mm, mm,
economy. And of course, it's expensive also for the international nights, but
mm,
some of them kind of made that as a
mm,
or
mm,
family
mm.
visiting,
Kasi
everything.
I would
So
agree
it
with that,
was.
Sir Alwin. Yeah,
Mhm.
kasi as far as the international, and I don't mean any offense to our international listeners, no. The thing is, there is a great disparity between a $200 in your area in the central US and $200 here in the Philippines, because your $200 in the US would just be 2 nights stay on a
Yeah.
big hotel, right? I mean, just
Maybe
even
one night, sir.
maybe one night, even for that matter.
That's
But
correct.
here,
It depends on the
10,000
city, of course. Yeah.
depends on the city, of course. But here, 10,000 pesos, and that is all pretty much equivalent to $200. Now, 10,000 pesos here, sir, I could spend it on hotel, believe it or not,
Yeah.
because I could find more a hotel pretty much almost at the same class as Manila Hotel.
So,
But you see that the difference
mhm,
there, and
sir.
some people
Mhm.
are putting it on their vacation time here in the
That's
Philippines, so they have actually earmarked funds for
that's
vacation. So they have actually earmarked funds for vacation, but on the local scene, this isn't vacation for them. This is actually part of work for them.
no, sir. This is not. Of course, this is not elected to connected to the our
Mm.
topic. But
Yeah, yeah,
since we've mentioned it, I remember. I think it was in during the time of the international delegates paid differently from the local
yeah.
delegates. I was wondering how come it was not adopted this
Yeah.
year, especially coming
Uh,
out of the pandemic. Was it like
yeah.
maybe an oversight, or is it something that we can improve on? Maybe
It's something that we could improve on. I did.
on maybe
It's something that we could improve on. I didn't particularly know that there was a subsidized registration during the time of Sir Singson. One of the things that one of the things that I would say part of the improvement that we could do for the next international assembly is for us to be more sensitive on how the fundings came about. Kasi the participation of the local chapters here in this international assembly were not really as high.
that's
There were
correct.
only representatives from my region, and there were only about six of them that came from my region, and there were only about six of them that came over. But that's already Central Luzon. But
That's
unlike
correct.
so,
That's
and
correct.
that is why the International Assembly traditionally has not gathered much attendance in terms of the local brotherhood. But
Yes,
if it gets to and it seesaws when it comes to now the General Assembly, because the General Assembly, it's now the local brothers that come in, and then the international brothers would be just sparingly coming over because of the of ticket prices. So it kind it seesaws now and then, but we're trying to. You're right. It's something that we can improve on moving forward. And Sir Singson did the International Assembly in Vigan,
that's correct.
if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
So that's the
Yeah. So
in terms of cost, it's lower, I guess.
yeah, yeah, not Manila Hotel, yeah. So sir, going back of course we kind of segue on the International Assembly.
Mm-mm,
Going back on the election of the Supreme Council. So in other words, to correct the course, if it
mm-mm,
was a ship, we would
mm-mm.
have to extend the term of present
This council, yeah.
this present
This council, yeah.
council,
Pretty
whether good
much
or
like that.
bad,
If we,
depending on.
whether good or
So
bad, depending on it, yeah.
instead of 2 years, they will have 2.5 years.
Yeah, pretty much like that. Not
Okay.
yeah,
Now,
yeah, about that.
would that on looking at that way, the bylaws, because
No,
the term is 2 years.
no, because that would also be we could still invoke the what happened during the Ibanez cabinet, that it was actually force majeure. Now, the force majeure on the Ibanez cabinet was the pandemic. Now, the force majeure here is the after effect of the pandemic. The Ibanez cabinet was greatly affected by the pandemic itself, while the Calderon cabinet is actually affected by the post-pandemic recovery. And that part is where we're trying to set the clock straight. So because the Ibanez cabinet went over by 6 months, it actually affected the Calderon cabinet by lessening it by 6 months. So by extending the Calderon cabinet by about 6 months, it actually corrects the course for the future councils not to be affected by the timelines.
So really, the pandemic affected
Affected,
was going to
yeah,
happen affected both
both.
Supreme Councils, the
Yes,
Ibanez Supreme
the
Council,
the pandemic itself, which affected the
the Supreme
Banyas Council, and
and
then
this
the
one too.
post-pan that affected the Calderon Council.
Now, sir, do you think that so after the Calderon Supreme Council,
Mhm.
everything will be back to May and June.
Yes,
May
yes, yes.
election, June term, start
June
of
term. Yep.
term,
Yes, because
and and
there's no imminent reason for them to change the dates. Eh. There's
now,
no.
of course, sir, we were talking about the regional commanders meeting that you attended, and this
Mm,
was the
mm,
consensus sentiment. Now,
mm,
how
mm,
about the people in the Supreme Council? Would they want to? I know that during the Ibanez Supreme Council, when they extended, I know not everybody was active anymore. Of course,
yeah.
the pandemic was pretty scary, a
Mm,
hundred times scary than now,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
people were shocked. And they actually tried to have programs like essays and everything, which
Mm,
did not
mm,
come to fruition.
yeah. Yeah.
But this time around, with the Calderon Supreme Council itself, what do they
Mm.
what do they think? Do they want 6 months? I know